friends here. Other than this election is not about us. We've got T-shirts with our names on it, a couple commercials with our faces on it. This really is about you. And I look out at the crowd and I see, our extremes, our young people out here. I see Elmer, one of our young people. I was talking about you, Elmer, one of the young people. Elmer Blankenship's one of the first persons I met when I decided to run for Congress 5 years ago. We started talking about protecting Social Security, protecting Medicare, keeping it solvent, keeping it for the citizens, keeping it alive and well. And that goes back to the young people too. It's about you. It's not about us. We're just the mouthpiece for the people out here. And you have to elect officials that realize that. If they're doing it for themselves, send them packing. If you get that feeling from me, send me home. But I don't feel that way. I want to do what's right for the people here. We're here today talking about early voting, getting people out there. I think back to the Iraqi elections. Remember some of the pictures in the papers, people came out of the voting booths with the ink on their finger holding up and grin smear, how proud they were to go cast a vote. And I thought, here in America, they risk their lives over there to go to a voting place. And all we're asking for our right to vote, and it is a right, that we come out and we exercise that. Along with that being our right, it's also our responsibility. It's a responsibility to go and cast your vote, because you've always heard it, it's always been said, if you don't vote, don't gripe. If you're not part of the system, you're part of the problem. If you're not part of fixing it, then are you just going to sit back and gripe? And part of that responsibility is also the responsibility of learning who you want to vote for. Not just because, now this is going to sound a little weird, not just because you're Democrat, not just because you're Republican, but because they're the right person for the job and they're talking about the issues that matter. Not about, how far a person bent over when they met a leader of another country. Not if somebody wore too fancy of pants down to the Gulf Coast during the oil spill. Is that really what these elections are about? I thought it was about keeping jobs here in America. Making sure that these young folks can get a good education that they can actually afford. And then when they do that, they put 4 or 5 years into college or more, that there's a job out there waiting for them. That they can afford to not have $100,000 in loans. And yet we've got people on these ballots and on these tickets that are perfectly willing to send our jobs overseas. And Elmer, you've got people on these tickets that are willing to privatize Social Security. Give it money back to them. I like to trust people with their money, but that's a plan. Social Security is a successful program in this country. It's a safety net for the American people. And privatizing is wrong. Raising the age limit is wrong. Can you imagine Elmer on the end of I hate to keep picking on you, on the end of a jackhammer? And he's not 70 yet, but he may be someday. And this gentleman is. I don't want to be running a jackhammer at 70. 70 is not that old. But there's certain jobs, and it's a little tougher when you're 70 than when you're 50. The importance of getting out to vote is critical. And like Frank said, they keep trying to tell us that we're depressed and we're not going to turn out and we're going to lose these races. I know these people that are making calls every night. It's a whole different story. When they're sitting in those offices, IDing voters and making thousands of calls a night, we're hearing a different story. So they can take all the polls they want, calling 500 people in a night's time and say, well, you're down this much, you're down that much. The truth is, when people hear the story, when they hear the story about these candidates in the State House, the Sheriff's Office, and me as Senate, when you tell what these candidates are about, that poll flips right upside down and we win these races. And what that's going to take is 3 or 4 weeks of good, hard work. And remember that if you stand with us, the ones who got the plastic signs and got the T-shirts, we will never forget, and we will stand with you after November 2nd. That's what's important. November 2nd is important, but after that, the work getting done is what really is critical. And we stand with the President of the United States to move this country forward. I'll say one more thing. When I ran for Congress in 2005, all that 4 years ago, we called it the Do Nothing Congress. That was what all the pundits, all the media was saying. They haven't done a thing. Well, they won't call us the Do Nothing Congress. We've done big things. They're a little controversial. You know what we did? Things we promised we were going to do and tackle. Did you want us to make more commercials saying, let's do something about health care someday? We did all that. Let's rein in Wall Street and do financial service reforms so our 401ks and our pension plans are safe. and that golden year can be golden again. And there's a future for these young people. If that's wrong, of taking action and doing things we talked about doing, and that gets us killed politically, I've said this before, then walk across my cold, dead political body for the next big thing that this country does. Because I'm about moving it forward, and we'll take those hard votes, because leaders lead. And when you stand out in front, you take bullets. That's what leaders do. Bad leaders sit behind the crowd and let all the control. Leaders step up in front. We'll take the shots. I'll take those shots for you. Let's stand together and win these races. Thank you all very much.